The primary research instrument I employed to gain feedback was the use of questionnaires, which incorporated both qualitative and quantitative questions, tailored to the specific purpose of the feedback I was gathering. Throughout the conduction of this primary research instrument on multiple occurrences throughout the duration of my coursework, the only possible improvement I can think of to my gathering and collating of feedback would be to hand the questionnaires out to more people than what I did. However, this would be purely a means to gain more qualitative data. Therefore means that although this would improve my overall feedback, I can presume proportionately that the quantitative feedback wouldn't be affected, and as the amount of people I asked originally was of a reasonable and easily proportionate amount, I don't believe my lack of doing this to be much of an issue in my end results. In terms of the methods in which I created a means for feedback via my primary research instrument, prior to my first questionnaire, I created a media pitch for my primary product in order to gain the opinions of my classmates on my idea and their plausibility on Microsoft PowerPoint, following the initial creation of my ideas sheet on Microsoft Word, from which I summarised, illustrated and backed up my ideas with research to form the basis of my PowerPoint-based media pitch. From this outlet, I also gained tutor feedback from my media tutor Vicky, which helped me in some ways more than my peer feedback, as she gave me a much more in-depth analysis of my ideas and how I could improve them or the direction I should take them. Therefore, in this sense, being a prompt for both tutor and peer feedback, I believe this means for feedback was highly appropriate and successful in its purpose, hence gaining me valuable feedback prior to the finalisation of my ideas in my treatment video. Another means of feedback for the use of my primary research instrument was the drafting process that I undertook as part of my master creation. I instigated a means of feedback for my primary research instrument at the second draft stage of the process, from which I inquired as to how I could improve my master designs and which master design my peers believed to be most suitable for a local broadsheet newspaper. This means of feedback was extremely useful in the finalisation of my master design, which in its process, in my opinion, created a masthead fit for purpose and specification. Finally, the last means of feedback I established wasn't related to my primary research instrument, as for my ancillary products and main products as a whole. For progression from a first or second draft to my third draft products, I utilised tutor feedback given to me following the Christmas break. This means of feedback came to be as a course requirement and on the principle of my tutor feedback given to me for my media pitch, as I believe that as I had followed the codes and conventions of real media products from my various text genres and subgenres, this would be the most appropriate means of feedback for my products, and therefore additional peer feedback, in my opinion, wasn't necessary. Following this feedback given to me following the Christmas break, I refined my products based on the advice and critique given. I went on to hand my products into my media tutor for further feedback on how to finalise my products. What these stages summed up to basically was the initial post-Christmas feedback stage guided me on any elements or obvious mistakes I had made in my initial draft products, and then my post-initial feedback stage of feedback helped me intricately refine my products and make the address of my products more direct and professional. To conclude, my primary research instrument was very effective in its purpose of refining my ideas and increasing the professionalism of my products, along with my secondary feedback means of asking my tutor for feedback. In terms of what improvements could be made or what could have been done differently, as stated, the only thing I would improve for my primary research instrument, in my opinion, didn't damage my end results through the lack of doing so, and in terms of my means of gathering or instigating feedback, the only possible thing I believe I would have done differently would be to have progressed all my draft products to a second draft prior to handing them in to my tutor for feedback initially, as I believe this could have possibly improved my products in some aspects.